Seems to me like the end racism probably has a lot to do with the fact that the sitting president is there. And I don't know what everyone at this table thinks, but I don't think racism is over.
Like after the NFL decided to edit their end racism slogan in the end zone for Sunday's game, now it's going to read choose love. The NFL says it has nothing to do with the new president attending. What do you think of this rewrite?
I think this a little
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any, is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before. That was to me, the one thing that was missing.
Sunny Hostin of The View, who's constantly raging about race and reparations and how bad America is and its racial past and all this stuff.
You're around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia.
Hostin and her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, are preparing for a legal battle to fight accusations that he committed federal insurance fraud.
Latino men actually voting more for him, and you have and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
Liberals are going nuts when the NFL replaced the words "end racism" and "choose love" on their Super Bowl end zones. People, it's becoming ridiculous, and to be honest, things are getting sticky. With the sitting president attending the game, some see it as a step toward togetherness, while others see it as a secret retreat from social justice messaging. The NFL is trying to avoid controversy. Perhaps not. But as if the situation couldn't get any hotter, Sunny Hostin made headlines. Again for her comments on The View that she isn't taking her husband's major fraud claims lightly. She is threatening to sue him and calling it a hit job.
Allegations via a statement through his lawyer, telling Daily Mail that his client, quote, denies each and every allegation and that the lawsuit is a blanket.
Are they just tired of being criticized? What was it that Sunny said that made things worse? Would her lawsuit against her spouse hurt her career? For the previous several years, the NFL has used the term "end racism" in the areas around its grounds during games, including the Super Bowl. But for 2025, the league altered it to "choose love." According to the NFL, this modification was made to spread a message of harmony and inclusiveness. The timing has garnered attention, particularly because the president will be attending the next Super Bowl, although the NFL has not explicitly connected the decision to any political event. There has been a mixed response from the public to the move. Some people think that "choose love" is a more uplifting and universal message that can be applied to a number of different concerns. Leftist critics, however, argue that racism and replacement mark a departure from the league's previous social justice stance. Others see this as an attempt to avoid controversy, especially in the wake of past racial scandals. Messages of justice. In sports, the move raises questions about the NFL's long-term strategy for social and political message, even if the league hasn't yet publicly addressed these problems. Although it's uncertain whether this change will have a long-term effect, Sunny Hostin's stance on the subject is probably well known to anybody who has ever seen The View. She didn't hold back while criticizing the NFL, asserting that the choice to eradicate racism was deliberate and went beyond just changing the language.
Very serious crime. In fact, it's one of the largest, if not the largest, RICO case in New York's history.
Keep a vital message silent. According to Sunny, racism still exists, and it seems regressive to substitute a vague phrase like "end racism" with one as vague as "choose love." The NFL is clearly eschewing racial justice message because it is no longer convenient for them, she said, adding that these corporate changes usually happen for a reason. Maybe she believes that choosing love has such a bad connotation.
Really know what was going on, right? Which is what she's probably going to say later. Oh, I had no idea what my husband and his associates were doing. We'll wait and see what that is, but I think it's pretty freaking ironic.
Sunny added that the current president was attending the Super Bowl, which she claimed may be the league's tactic to prevent unnecessary political strain. According to her, the goal is to pander to a certain population and ensure that the league doesn't lose viewers or sponsorship revenue from that audience, not to widen or make the message more inclusive. Are you referring to football fans? I don't see why politics has to be a part of everything, and her viewpoint caused controversy as usual. Sunny would have none of it. She said that when powerful groups such as the NFL begin to compromise, it usually means they are caving in to outside pressure. Alyssa Farah Griffin resisted, saying that not everything needs to be a political calculation at play. Alyssa Farah Griffin believed that this may not be about politics at all, rather than the NFL caving in to the government or ignoring social justice. She was right when she said that the NFL could just be trying to raise awareness of a broader problem that applies to all the tragedies and struggles people are going through right now. Over the last year, there have been a number of noteworthy catastrophes. Given that terrorism focuses on conflicts and natural calamities worldwide, the NFL may utilize love to promote a universal message rather than advancing a specific ideology. The other hosts disagreed with her, but they argued that the league was still responsible for fulfilling its prior commitments. However, Alyssa presented a compelling argument, and I concur with her. All of this has elicited significant reactions. With the argument that football should be about the game and not politics, some people think the NFL made the correct choice. For them, love is a message that is safe, upbeat, and non-aggressive. However, other people think that sometimes the goal of change is just to prevent things from being too political in the first place, rather than constantly making a political statement. Then there is the counter-argument, which says that even if the league doesn't agree with it, eradicating racism sends a message. The NFL seems to be artfully reversing their words from only a few years ago in order to please certain supporters, and of course, the timing isn't helping with the new president in the audience. Many people believe that the NFL did this to prevent any unnecessary controversy, but companies, let's face it, step without taking into account all possible reactions. And while experts and media outlets are taking sides, others argue that this is proof that the NFL is trying to distance itself from activism. In any event, one thing is clear. The league had to have known that the response would be explosive, and this was not only a straightforward design modification. But in the long run, will any of this matter? Is this simply another debate that will end as soon as the next big game starts? Or will the NFL really suffer any repercussions for this decision? Now that the dust has settled, what comes next? The NFL is attempting to maintain harmony without adopting a strong position. But one thing is for sure, Sunny does not have a positive public image. With loud-mouthed presenters who can't zip it and more authentic programs battling legal issues on many fronts, The View is losing viewers. It seems gloomy. Is the NFL playing it safe, or did they make the correct choice, in your opinion? Let's face it. Most people will move on when the next big game rolls along, even though this topic will probably dominate headlines for a few days or maybe weeks.